Summer is finally here, and that can only mean one thing. Bugger all to do other than venture to our local cinemas for the latest offerings from Hollywood, in the form of big-name blockbusters and the usual lineup of uninspiring shit. Looking back at 2007's disaster pieces, only 3.5 films were worth watching, and out of this year's lineup I can only recommend 3 films worth watching. One of them is Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Now, many reviewers have canned this movie and Harrison Ford left and right, which I can understand because most critics will criticise any reinvention, reboot or sequel to a franchise which hasn't had an update in a long time. Being someone who has never sat for an Indiana Jones movie before, I didn't have this problem. I enjoyed it for what it is, a decent action-adventure movie. This movie had some pretty decent action scenes. What I like about movies like Die Hard 4 and Rocky 6 is that just because you're 60 doesn't mean you haven't got what it takes anymore. It's nice to see Harrison Ford can still be a character he made famous instead of taking the easy way out and hire a young actor in his place. Which sadly this film did by hiring Shia LaBeouf as a new character called Mud Williams. Shia's character truly sticks out like a sore thumb in this movie. He plays like a weird cross between the Fonz from Happy Days and Biff Tannen from Back to the Future, and I'm tired of seeing him, to be perfectly honest. He was in iRobot, Transformers, Disturbia, Surf's Up, A Guide to Recognizing Your Saints, and now this, all in the basis of 4 years. I'd like him more if I saw less of him. He's like a younger Samuel L. Jackson. I digress. What were we talking about again? Oh yeah, Indiana Jones. The plot of the movie and the way it all plays out reminds me of the Mummy series. It tells a story and shows a lot of knowledge towards the historical elements, as well as some bizarre fights between archaeologists and some rather bizarre people. The movie at times also played on the aspects Die Hard 4 did by making the character show his age, as well as referencing the movies before it. In between the gun violence, ant carnage, and falling off waterfalls, I did find watching Shia LaBeouf being punched repeatedly by a hot Ukraine woman in tight trousers rather satisfying, but I only have 2 major complaints with the movie: the ending and the character Mac, played by Ray Winston. At the beginning of the movie, he starts off as Indy's friend, and he betrays him, gets punched a couple of times, teams back up with Indy, betrays him again, then teams back up with him, then dies. I mean, come on, Ray, make your mind up. Then the ending itself and the whole alien plot I found, well, a bit stupid, to be honest. The movie builds up this suggestion of a great treasure and a mysterious city of gold. No, not that one. When they finally find this gold, it turns out the gold in question is 13 crystal alien skeletons. For you see, gold in their language is knowledge. I felt that was kind of a letdown, to be frank, but what this film lacks in a crucial ending, it redeems itself in a fair amount of decent action and plot advancement. What I look for in a good movie is decent action scenes, as well as some form of storytelling that leads to decent action segments, and Kingdom of the Crystal Skull did a pretty good job at combining both. Just like Iron Man, I highly enjoyed this movie. The effects are... well, let's be honest, CG is fake no matter what you do to it, but for what they're worth, they get a B-. The story and the acting was fine, except for the ending, which I felt was out of place, and belonged in another franchise Lucas worked on. On a closing note, if you have a free afternoon, and you need something to see in the cinema, here's my advice. Avoid the bullshit and give Indiana Jones a go. Ignore the critics, this movie is brilliant. I gave Kingdom of the Crystal Skull a 3 out of 5. And always remember, kids, to survive a nuclear holocaust, hide in your fridge.
Babality.